estou aqui em Los Angeles, essa cidade linda, maravilhosa, para assistir em primeira mão o filme Convergente, que é a terceira parte da saga de Divergente, e ainda trocar uma ideia com algumas pessoas do elenco, como Shai, Naomi Watts e Theo James. Olha só.
The only way our society can survive is for each of you to claim your rightful place.
Yeah, and we also see a lot of very powerful women.
Yeah.
Like yourself, like Tris, and I feel that it influences the young kids, especially the girls.
Yeah, I think there's glimmers of hope that are occurring right now for women, and it certainly seems like audiences are more open to it, and studios too. And why not? I mean, we're interesting people, and we're half the population of the world. Why shouldn't we have our voices heard and our stories told?
Yeah, and it's very important to bring the heroism to the real life. I mean, we see movies and we are very, thrilled about seeing a hero working out problems and helping the world, but we can do stuff in our real world also. I mean, you're an ambassador at United Nations, right? And you picked a battle, you picked the HIV, and I have a feeling that maybe we should all pick a cause and fight for it.
Well, I think it's fantastic if you can. We need to do our tiny bits for the world that we live in, and it's great that I'm in a position where I get invited to do that, and I feel proud that I've been able to help in a small way.
And who are the heroines that you see since you were a girl, or I mean sometimes in adult life, that influenced you in some way?
I mean, it's starting with my mom. She's a strong woman and huge opinions, and I've always just grown up watching and hearing her talk about things and been completely fascinated by her, and she seems fearless at times. So that's great. Our role models are very important. Yeah.
And
It's time.
So, the world of Allegiance is like a really bad and pessimistic version of the future. Are you pessimistic about our real future also?
It's hard not to be, because things are changing radically, especially in terms of how we're kind of going to survive as a population on a planet with limited resources. But I hope that we have the ability to overcome that.
Yeah, and the movie keeps making people think about it. They also think about the female heroine. I think it's amazing that nowadays you will see more and more of strong female characters like Tris. And I was wondering, how do you think Tris inspires the young girls, and why did 4 fall in love with her?
Yeah, I mean, she's a very strong, complex person, and I think these stories are about her kind of development into womanhood, and finding out who she is and how she'll conduct herself. And she's not. She has weaknesses and strengths, and I think that's what's attractive as well. She's a normal person. I think young people can kind of relate to that. Obviously, she's not a superhero in any way.
And who were your heroes when you were a kid?
Who are my heroes? I'd say my philosophy teacher, my dad.
Hey, that's awesome.
And who else? Probably my brothers.
I read that you dream about having a bioorganic farm and that you're involved with causes like environment and indigenous. Is that true?
Yeah.
And I think that this is a kind of good way of being a hero in real life. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know. I don't know if I wouldn't consider it a heroic thing. I just consider it something that's important. It feels right to me because it's something I'm passionate about.
Do you think that young kids should get more involved with causes like that?
I do. I think we have one life to live and we might as well just fully go for it. I think the world can't sustain itself if it continues on the path that it's on right now. And we must start on a small grassroots level, demanding shifts in the fossil fuel industry and in the food industry. Women's rights.
That's right. I mean, you see a lot of very powerful women in this movie, and Tris is someone to look up to. Do you think that she influences the girls, young girls especially, in a good way?
I hope so. I hope she influences people. I mean, I think the beautiful thing about Tris is even though she's strong, she's not perfect. And even though she's brave, that doesn't mean she's not weak. She's very vulnerable still, and she's sensitive, and she makes mistakes, and she has wins and she has losses. And I think it's a good example for people to recognize that being a leader doesn't always mean being perfect.
Totally true. And you see a very sad apocalyptic future in this saga, and especially in the last movie you see it even more clearly. And I keep thinking that, do you feel pessimistic or optimistic about the future of our real world?
I'm optimistic. I don't know why I would give any energy to pessimistic views. I'm optimistic that people will be open-minded and that people will stand together ultimately to create change.
Yeah. What heroines do you think that inspired you in your life?
I mean, I would say my mom is a heroine. She's an incredible woman. I'm deeply inspired by other heroines. There's so many.
Yeah, right.
I think it depends on how you define a hero.
That's true. Can you say Eu te amo Brasil? It means I love you Brazil. They will
Eu
love
te
it.
amo.
Eu te amo
Eu te amo.
Brasil.
Brasil.
Yeah.
Eu te amo Brasil.
Oh, that's so cute.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Eu te amo, Brazil. Perfect.